You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay, and this is...
The outstanding world of Wardini books. Outstanding.
It's outstanding, all right. I'll be outstanding in the cold.
It's actually quite lovely out there today. Makes a change.
And have you been well?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
As I was loading the video up to YouTube last week of our little conversation, I couldn't help but notice that my profile is particularly stink.
What do you mean?
And my grandson pointed it out to me, as kids do. They say, "Oh, Granddad, you got a chicken neck." And he is right.
Children, aren't they delightful? And you have to see the beauty in this chicken neck,
I'll have to
child.
sort of go like this. Yeah, that's right.
There's wisdom and
Yes.
in this chicken neck.
It's a well-earned chicken neck.
Yeah.
It took me 68 years to get this chicken
One day,
neck.
son, you'll have a chicken neck too.
That's right. Anyway, we digress. You want to tell us about some fabulous books that you have, and the first one is E Hoa.
Yeah,
What's that
look
all
at
about?
that.
Look at that.
Look at that beautiful curry on the front, that lovely
Yes.
doggy with his little tongue sticking out, and his friend, this lovely child. So Gavin Bishop is the author, Gecko Press is the publisher, and there's one about Mihi, about saying you're Mihi, where you're from, and that kind of thing. And there's one about Koro, your granddad, and they come in board book format like this, and there's a completely Te Reo Māori edition and there's a completely English version. So I have been sent, because I'm a lucky girl, this one.
Can you get them with both?
But no, they're not combined.
No.
And so this one is in Māori, and so E Hoa is friend. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's a nice phrase. Kia ora E Hoa is hello, my friend, and I think it was always a lovely thing to
like
say
that.
to somebody. So in this one, we're looking at feelings and emotions and just stuff that happens throughout the day. So it always focuses on this same child, and in this one we have the dog, the kuri, and Grandpa Koro will turn up at some point as well. And so in this one, Takukuri Pai is my good dog. And then, what do you think's happening in this one?
I think they're going for a run or to the beach.
Yeah, there might be. So they're having fun.
Yes.
So this is what it looks like when you're having fun and you've got a little doggy smile on your face and everything's happy. And that's hangaraka. And in this one, we are glad and joyful. I'm glancing down because I don't want to get it wrong and I've written out what everything means. So, ke te koia. And, you can just tell that there's a lot of joy going on there. But in this one...
Yeah, hey, I'm hungry and somebody's eating my food.
Yes, so I'm quite
get
angry.
the heck out of there.
He's a bit angry about that one because that flipping worm is in his bowl. How rude is that? So he's a very cross dog. So, and you can see, hoi hoi, what was that one again? Oh, it's like, be quiet. He's having a good old bark to himself, so Koro's a bit like, shut up, dog. Which I think anyone with a dog has had to say at some point.
Many times.
So what we're doing in this one, what was that one? Oh, he's a bit sad. He's a bit sad and dejected. And I don't know if that's because he's being told off.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
or he's a little bit, And in that one is whakama, which is quite a commonly used phrase among all New Zealanders, I think, for a bit shy, a bit embarrassed. Yeah. And in that one, things are going well. What was that one? Keen as a bean, I wrote as a translation
Keen
for
as a
that.
bean.
Keen as a bean. Like, yes. So maybe they are going to the beach or they're going out, and he's all keen to get on with things.
Yes.
And that one again is about friendship. So I thought, on some level, it's about all these different things that we go through when we are friends.
Yes, indeed.
It's not all keen as a bean and sunshine and roses, is it?
not.
Sometimes it's like, I'm sad,
Yeah.
and you can help me with that.
This is the other side of me.
Yeah, so I just thought that was... Oh, the illustrations are just
They're
delightful,
very good,
aren't
aren't
they?
they? I love that sort of simplicity with it. You can sort of get it straight away.
Nice and clean.
Yep.
Yeah. And also ripe for discussion.
Yes.
So, are you feeling whakama today? What's going on? Let's talk about that. So I just think that's another stunner of a book by Gavin Bishop.
And I like that board page.
They're great,
Yeah, it lasts forever.
Yeah, they do. But I think the point of them is, if you've got a little baby and and they don't have fine motor skills when they're maybe like 18 months, do they? And they fling things and they chew them because they've got teeth coming through. So you need something a bit more robust.
Yes, it is. So it takes a while to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about Mila and the Bone Man.
So, New Zealand book there, New
Yes.
Zealand book here. This is by Lauren Roche. She's written memoirs before, but this is her first novel. And it's set mostly in Northland, go down to Auckland a little bit. So Mila has grown up in quite a big family. She's got 2 siblings and her mum, Esther. And then mum has remarried and she's got a stepdad who she always thinks as her father, Tama. And Tama and Esther have twins. And so there are now 5 kids, 2 grown-ups. They live on the edge of the bush, you know, so you've got a little community. Auntie Kath lives next door, but, you know, a bit down the road. And then there's Jane and her grandson, Tommy, next door. And Tommy is a good friend to Mila. And Tommy's autistic. And he's the bone man in this because he goes into the forest and he'll find a dead possum and Grandma will say, get that out of the house, you know, and he'll clean it up and he'll re-articulate the skeletons.
All right.
And so he's always making these.
So it's not the bone man as in pointing the bone, it's...
Yeah, so he collects bones
Yes.
and does interesting things with them. And that's going to be quite pivotal to the plot later on. So we start with this scene where Mila is trying to sort out her mother, who's of Croatian descent, and there's the healing in the family, the ability to heal. And so there's this combination of this old Croatian healing that she's learned through her baka, who's her grandmother, and her auntie Kath, and then the Rongoa Māori that's in their community as well. And then later on, that's like, how can we use this with Western medicine? Yes, sometimes you need a pill,
Yes, you do.
but sometimes a kawa tea is going to just do the trick. So that's integral to the story as well. So she's trying at the beginning, the very first scene, as a grown-up woman to sort out her mother, who's a meth addict by this point. And so then you go back in time to find out how it came to be, you know, because then you go back in time and there are 5 kids and stepdad's lovely, you know, it's not one of these stories where the stepdad's awful.
Yeah.
But there's a tragedy, there's an absolute tragedy, and a child dies, and Mila is full of guilt and sadness and has a secret that she's going to keep. And she's 7 years old, you know, she's a tiny child herself.
Yes.
And then later, as a teenager, something quite horrific happens to Mila and she runs away. So you've got these elements of the story, but it's always that Turanga Waiwai, that going back to where home is and her connection with the forest, with the bush, with the kauri trees. And she's almost got like a sixth sense, so she can sense what's going on in the forest and how the forest feels. And Lauren Roche is very good at bringing in real environmental issues like the kauri dieback and stuff like that that's going on in Northland. So there are just so many elements to this story. And my favourite bits are in the bush, because you feel like you're there. You can smell the leaf litter and, you know, the lushness of the forest.
That's good writing that makes you think that way, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
That's my point I was just going to raise with you. It does seem like there's a lot going on in that book. Did you find it to be an easy read?
It is an easy read, and I suppose that's the beauty of any book, is that there is a lot going on, but it is easy to read. But I don't know if there is a lot going on. There are some very peaceful chapters where you're really inside Mila's head and trying to sort out her emotions, and she knows that she's reacting badly sometimes. And her mother is a very flawed mother, you know, as you can tell right from the beginning, and then you see how Esther's got to that point. So I was quite cross with Esther for being, I don't know, the mother that she was to Mila. But yes, you're in her head quite a bit, and I like that. I like the unravelling of emotions. So
when we turn the last page, will we be uplifted, or is that a spoiler?
No, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that there are incidents of absolute, this is the worst thing that can happen to people, like the worst thing. But then there is always that hope, you know, of redemption, of reconciliation, of moving on. So, yeah, I think she's done a good job of infusing that through her novel. Lauren Roche has had quite a hard life as well. Yeah. She had a lot of childhood trauma and things went very badly for her, but she became a medical doctor and was a GP for 30 years. Right. So, yeah. Does it lend itself to a follow-on novel, or is it a closed story? I would probably say it's best left as it is. I don't think there's always value in revisiting things. Well done. As always, my pleasure to talk with you. If you want any of these fabulous books, where do we get them? Let's go to Wardini Books. See you later, Louis. Lovely. Thanks.